Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Brie Pod. I'm here with Priscilla Parent from Tarot Tuesday Tribe. She's a spiritual coach, and she's here to tell her story.
Hey guys, I'm Priscilla. I'm excited to be here with Brie. This is actually really exciting because she has talked about doing a podcast and now it has manifested. We're in the part where now she can receive all the abundance from the podcast.
Yay!
So exciting, so exciting. And I am grateful to be the first guest, and I'm honored that she asked me to be here with all of you guys. So thanks, Brie.
Oh, yes, thank you for coming. So I'm very excited to have you share your story and how you got into becoming a spiritual coach and just everything you can tell us.
Yay. Okay, so I will start so I'm Priscilla. I'll start with my name.
Okay.
I'm Priscilla, and I'm with Tarot Tuesday Tribe. I am a new business owner. I guess this is launching on the 1st, so the January of last year, 2020, I started my business. Very exciting. I have had many achievements in my business. I've also had many struggles in my business. So I want to make sure that I share all of that with you guys. And I want to talk a little bit about where I started. And Brie and I talked a little bit before we did this because my story is kind of lengthy because I am 28. So I've lived a lot of years. So to, talk about my whole entire story, it'd take like 3 days. But she is going to feature me on her future podcast. So keep watching and looking forward to, pieces of my whole entire story. So we'll start with like my spiritual path. So I had a really bad breakup, which that's what shifted everything for me. And that was in 2016. So in 2016, after that breakup, my whole life shattered. I lost myself. I had really bad anxiety, really bad. I could feel it in my throat. I could feel it in my body. I was having issues sleeping. I was having issues eating. It affected my entire life. Some people would call this an awakening. So this was a very huge awakening in my life that led me up to this point of where I'm at right now. So I had to really dive deep into myself, and I had to heal a lot of things within me to be able to be at this point to serve others on this level. So I know a lot of you have been following me and following Brie. We do collaborations together, we do readings together. You've seen us for a while. And to look at where I'm at right now at face value, you'd be like, oh, she got a lot going on. And I do, but I had to go through a lot of shit to get to this exact moment. It wasn't easy. It wasn't like a walk in the park, roses and peaches. I had to heal a lot of my inner trauma, my shadows, to show up in the best way that I can for you guys. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I don't still have to do that, because we're always working on things within ourselves all the time. It doesn't just stop. You're not like, okay, I'm perfect now and I have no shit to clear or deal with or heal. That's not how life is. For me, moved through a lot of those heavy emotions and went through a really big awakening. And then I went to Spirit Fest. And if you've watched some of my past videos, some of you might remember this piece of my story. So Spirit Fest was in Potsdam. If you're watching this and you're not from New York, the North Country, that's where it is. It's a small town in the North Country in New York. went to Spirit Fest and I had my palm read, I had Reiki. Like, I didn't know what any of this stuff was. I was like, what is Reiki? Like, what are these crystals? What are readings? So Spirit Fest like really opened my eyes and kind of helped me move into like the spiritual space that I'm in right now. I'm just gonna take a drink of water.
Yeah, no problem. We're diving in deep.
Yep, literally. And so Spirit Fest really helped me start to see some of those things. And one of the women, I met many women there. One of them was like, you really need to be doing energy work. And I was like, what the hell is energy work? I had no idea what she was talking about. But then she gave me like a amethyst crystal. And I was like, oh, this is weird because that's my birthstone. So if you're in this, so if you're watching this, you definitely probably are a soul sister, very spiritual. You probably align with a lot of this stuff. So there's signs, right? We talk about signs, we talk about numbers. A purple crystal, my birthstone, kind of a sign. Confirmation. Like, I talk about this a lot. Confirmation. And it's one of my favorite things to discuss because I feel like they send us messages and it validates like where we are, what we're thinking, who we're with. So in that moment, I knew I was supposed to be there. So that was another one of those big, like, ooh, okay, big spiritual moments for me. Then after that, because I had one of my friends, Haley, she also was very spiritual, and she had like a tarot deck, and I didn't own any decks. When I first started, I was like, I don't even know what any of this is. And she owned a tarot deck, and I used to go over to her house and I would pull cards from her tarot deck. And I did that for a while, and I didn't understand at that point like what it meant. And then I got more familiar, and then I did a reading with a woman in her house, and she was giving away decks, and two of them like really were calling to me, and I got them, and I still use them. So if you watch my lives and my readings, or if you do one with Brie and me, we have like a collaboration reading together. So if you're interested and you like our vibes, that's something I definitely recommend. And I use my cards, my OG ones, in there too. And then I just started like randomly reading myself, started randomly reading other people, like kind of stepping my toes into it. And I loved it. Like, it felt so good. And I don't know if some of you guys feel this way, but like your spiritual self and spiritual tools are they're great coping skills. Like, they're coping mechanisms. Like, they can help your mental state, they can help your physical body, they can help your emotional state. Like, spiritual tools are so good for you. So I just started doing them because I loved them. And everyone who walked in my house, I'm like, okay, you want me to pull you a card? who wants a card? And I just really loved doing it. And then I started like seeing things like angel numbers. That's what really confirmed it for me. Like, I started seeing angel numbers, and every time I look them up, and I have a certain like website. If you just type in like Joanne Scribes, that I always use. And it kept saying like a spiritual career, like a spiritual based practice, a heart-based practice, like for me. And I'm like, what? And so if you don't know, I'm also a CPS caseworker. I know CPS and spiritual coaching, completely opposite. However, it's super beneficial in my CPS job to be doing this business or to have these practices, to have these collaborations, because it's so like healthy. And sometimes in my other job, like it gets really heavy and it can get really toxic. It can get really toxic. So to have like that outlet really, really helped me. And it's part of like the reason why I shifted all of this stuff that I love, all these little hobbies and passions that I have, into a business, because I wanted to share it with other people on a deeper and higher level. And I talk a lot about money blocks. I talk a lot about like financial abundance. I talk a lot about energy exchanges. I think it's really important, especially when you talk about like knowing your worth, like knowing your self-worth, deeply being able to recognize that you're worthy to get paid from others. Sometimes that can make people very uncomfortable. Can make people very uncomfortable to ask for money or to put themselves out there. But for you to receive all that the universe wants you to receive, you have to be open to everything, including money. And if you're listening to this and then you're hearing this and it's triggering you, I want you to look deeper into yourself and ask yourself why. Why is money, or the word money, triggering? Why is it uncomfortable? Because there's some things that you might have to work through or heal with money. So like your relationship with money, or even your past. So like how your parents handled their money, that also affects you. That's what you saw. Like that was your role model, is how they did things. So why wouldn't you be moving into, you know, your adult life like that? But we can change and we can shift all the time. We wouldn't be doing this field. We wouldn't be making this podcast. We wouldn't be doing this, you know, chat right now if I didn't fully feel like people could change or heal what's inside them. Very capable. All of us, every single person listening to this, you are capable of being your best self. So for me, that's a little bit about that. I could go way into that too. But I started my business January 14th of 2020. And this specifically took a lot of courage. And I had to be really, really brave to make that first step. And to know like this was part of why I'm here on this earth, was to create this. And I always think about this, I think about this a lot. If I did not take that first step and be like, I want to shift and make a business, Tarot Tuesday Tribe would have never happened. We would never be here right now. We wouldn't be on this podcast.
That's true. Yeah, because you inspired me to even have a podcast. So yeah, that's so true.
It's just a domino effect. And I did not realize that when I made my first step. And I know, Brie, for your story and like what you're doing, it's going to be the same thing. People are going to be like, okay, this never would have happened if you didn't do your podcast. This would never happen if you didn't do Sisterhood of the Rose. This wouldn't have, like, there's so many things that would not have happened if you didn't start.
It's crazy to think like that, but it's, I mean, just watching what, like, who you've helped and what you've done is crazy. It's like in a good way.
Awesome. It is. It's like, holy fuck. You just beat me out.
Yeah, we'll have to bleep that one.
Just beat me out. I swear all the time, guys. It's fine. I have to be my authentic self.
Yes, yep, that's the podcast is for. We want everyone that comes on here to be exactly who they are and to share exactly what they have to offer.
Yep. Yep. So I think of that day. And I still remember January 14th, 2020. I remember going to the courthouse. I remember meeting with the county clerk. I remember sitting there because it took so, and I know this is probably a long story too for another time, but I'll give you guys pieces of it. It took so long to figure out what I wanted to name my business. That also is like a block and a barrier, and that kept me stuck for a while. I was like, what do I even call myself? What do I even do? Like, how do I don't even know where to go. So I started like researching, and I started leaning on other spiritual coaches and other mentoring, people who are spiritually mentoring other readers. That's the thing, is when you want to do something, put yourself there. Put yourself there. Show up like you're already doing it. So for me, I started, turning to people that were doing what I wanted to be doing. And I watched them. I learned. I just like flooded it into my brain. I started and signed up for a spiritual membership. I did readings. I with other people. I was like, I need help. And knowing it's okay to get help from other people. Like, we don't know it all. We do not know it all as much as we want to think like we do. And you should trust yourself, because we do have a lot of information. We don't know everything. We just don't. We're human beings. And we're always learning. So for me, I'm like, I was so worried about, and I made like a list in my notes, and I wrote down like intuitively, like the downloads I was getting. I'm like, what should I name my business? What should I name my business? And I even posted it on Facebook with like my final ones, which were not even Tarot Tuesday Tribe, by the way. It was like Sparkling Services and like Priscilla something. I don't even know. I don't even remember. But it was a bunch of stuff that didn't even end up being it. But the point is, I was trying. The point is, I was putting the effort in, showing up, that energy, because things grow when you put energy to them. So if you're like pushing things off to the side, or you're neglecting them, or you're making excuses, or you're letting your blocks like hold you back, you're not going to get anything done. You're not going to get anything done. So you really need to stay like aligned with what you want and why you want it, like your purpose and why. Those are the two things that are your anchors. Like, that is what is going to be the foundation to every single thing that you create, all your passions, what you're building. That is your foundation. For me, I knew I wanted to help more people, and I would not be able to do that if I didn't shift into a business. I reminded myself of that. And I know some people out there in the world look at like starting a business being part of like an ego, like you need it for your ego. And it's not like that. It is not like that. You deserve to be paid. You deserve to be showing up, to be watched. And I still remember this, and it sits with me, and I feel like I need to tell you guys. One of the coaches that I was watching, she's from Boss Babe. She's Natalie. She had stated, you need to get comfortable with being famous. And I was like, ah! I'm like, no. I still remember listening to her say that, and I'm like, what? No. But yes, how are you going to reach all the people in the world if they don't know who you are?
Yeah, that's true.
They have to know who you are.
It has such a misconception about it, because when you think of like being famous, you kind of think of like that big ego star feeling that you're talking about. So,
Yep. Yep. And it's not that. It is not that. That is one of the stigmas people place on it. And if you are aligning with that thought, it's going to hold you back. That was a big one for me because I was so nervous to do live videos. I was so nervous to do a group. I was so nervous to start my own Facebook page, my own Instagram page. I'm like, oh my God, people are going to know me. What are they going to think? Like all these thoughts going into my brain.
so what I wanted to ask you, what are like the misconceptions or mistakes that you have made in or that people have thought about your business, or mistakes you've made in your business?
So, I know we talked about that one specifically with like showing up
Yeah.
in Facebook page and Instagram page and being seen. But another one is not staying consistent. So this is a really big mistake. Um, a lot of new business like owners make is not staying consistent. So for this, especially if you want like uh followers and you want people to know what you're doing and like what you're about, you have to stay consistent. So that means like for me specifically, I'll give my examples because that's what I know.
That's fine.
Every Tuesday, I go live in my page. Every Tuesday, I do something. Like I do something for my people. My whole business has been based around Tuesday. That is the day that I sat down at my table and I was trying to think of my business name, thinking of my business name, wasn't sure I was going to name it. I'm like, what can I do right now? And it was Tuesday. And I'm like, okay, what do I love? I'm like, my cards. So then I'm like, oh, maybe if I do a Tarot Tuesday, that would be, fun. Like, I would like that. I posted my deck and I said, I will pull you a card. Let me know if you want one. I had 99 comments on that first post.
Wow.
And I was pulling cards for 3 days. And I'm like, "Oh my God, way more people are like aligned to this than I thought."
It's
So,
crazy what the mind will do, when you're afraid of like what are they going to think about this, or how many people are actually going to follow this. So, and then for you to be like, whoa, 99, even though it sounds like, I guess, small to some, but it's just that it's big for your first time. Just be like, hey guys.
yep, that was my first post and I was like, "Wow. Okay." And then that's how I came up with Tarot Tuesday Tribe because I was doing every Tuesday. I had started doing every Tuesday. I was staying consistent with that. So when I shifted and I named my business and I set my business up, I already had my platform. My platform was already built before I even started. And that is because I was consistent. And when you're consistent, your people know what they're going to expect from you. Whenever I get on a live, whenever I go on a call, whenever I do a reading, people know what they're going to get. And that is important, especially when you're building a brand. So for me, Tarot Tuesday Tribe, that is my brand. It's all about self-love, self-worth. It's all about like love, connection, sisterhood, like souls. When you think of Tarot Tuesday Tribe, all of that is attached to it. That is your brand. That's how you're showing up. So not staying consistent, kind of like, oh, no direction, kind of willy-nilly all over the place. You can't build on that. Your people are like, what's going on? They get confused. Without consistency, people get confused. This way, it's clear. It's all clear. This is what she does. This is when she does it. And this is how I can pay her. Consistent. And then with that, I want to talk about collaboration too. I think this is a big mistake as well, especially when you're starting out. And I know Brie and I have had many conversations about competition.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yep. And I think with this, people, especially when you start, you can be like, oh my God, look at her, look at him, look at what they got going on, look at all these business, look at where they're at. Like, it can be overwhelming when you first start. And I think that the fear of not feeling like you're good enough or that you measure up to that person can sometimes bring that competition in, right? Because it's a threat. So when you think of that, you're like, oh, threat, nope. And then you're throwing that type of energy out, which is not good.
No, because then sometimes people won't even start because they're like, well, she's better than me, so close the book.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah. And that's not how this is. Like, we are better together. We are better together. The world is better together, especially even more importantly in the healing world, the empath world, the light working world. Like, we're a spiritual team. We are a team. Some of us have already met before. So we've lived other lives together. So when you meet a person like Brie, so when Brie and I got together, and I love this story too, because we both were thinking about each other at the same time. It was just kind of like, who's gonna message who?
Yeah.
And then I remember you messaged me, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so weird, because I literally was gonna message you. And then that first conversation was, we were dipping our feet in there, and so I just started my business. Brie had a business already, and she was doing photography. She was doing design. She had some stuff on Etsy. She was a big help to me because I had no idea what the hell I was doing. So she was a big help to me because I was like, I need another soul sister who is can tell me what I need to be doing. That was Brie. So I was like, I started a business Instagram page and a business Facebook page, and I need help. Like, I literally was like, SOS, throwing my flares up because I needed help. And Bree's with her angel wings. She's like, no, here I am. Thank God. So she flew in with her angel wings, and she helped me because my Instagram, so if you scroll through, because you can go down, scroll through when I first started, I don't even know what's going on, okay? I have no idea. I tried. I knew I wanted to do quotes, and I knew I wanted to do some pictures, but it was not very pretty. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't aligned with my brand. I still remember Brie told me when she looked at it, she's like, this does not look like you. And I'm like, what do you mean? I posted it. It's me. No, it was not me. The colors were not me. The energy was not me. It was a dark blue. She's like, yeah. Girl, you're pink and purple and
you're like cotton candy.
Yes. But I didn't understand any of that. But Brie told me, and she taught me. Could you imagine if Brie for 1 second felt threatened by what I was doing? No, I wouldn't have gotten the
No.
help and we wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So I am blessed that little angel came in and was not threatened by competition. And I think that you are a prime example, Brie, of how women should be for each other. Prime
Oh,
example.
you're so sweet.
Seriously. Because if there is a woman in this world that can get a whole bunch of soul sisters in one room, like, hey, hello, we're on the same team. What are we doing and creating? It's you.
Oh, well, I appreciate that.
So I just stand by collaborations and working with each other. It's so important. You're going to get much more things done. You're going to learn things from each other. There are a lot of things Brie taught me that I did not know. And I'm sure there's a lot of things I knew that Brie didn't know. And now they're together. And you can just see the collaboration and the knowledge and the power. Like there's power in collaboration. So don't look at it as a threat and don't be like, oh, my competition, I can't work with them. No, shift that mindset, because you're going to be able to serve people in a better, more like aligned way with those positive thoughts around collaboration.
Yes, and without collaboration, there wouldn't be the Brie Pod.
No. Brie has started a YouTube. She has started a Facebook. She has started a podcast. We have a private group in Messenger.
Yes, we do. It's to amp
Oh,
us up every morning. You need that amp up.
you do. You do. And like all of this is because we decided, all of us had this thought that we were not going to compete, we were going to collaborate.
Yep.
Two different energies. So if you're listening to this, I want you to think about where are you at right now? Like what are your thoughts with competition? What are your thoughts with collaboration? And what spectrum like are you currently right now? And then do you need like help shifting into that collaboration and like wondering, trying to find those blocks or those triggers that are making you feel threatened by the competition? You might need a reading. You're in a really good place to get one.
Yeah.
So those are my two biggest ones.
I think that I'm very appreciative of you sharing those because it's so true. And just hearing you talk about that, it's crazy to think of like what has come about from your collaboration with me and with you. So it's such a beautiful thing. So I do have one more question for you, and I just wanted to ask, like, what advice would you give others looking to start their own business or personal practice?
Ooh, what a good question. I love it. So one of my, I guess, my biggest one of my biggest advices would be to set goals. Goals are so important. They're going to keep you on track. Every single year, you can set goals whenever. You don't just have to do it the new year, but
Yep.
the new year is a very good time to set
Yes.
goals. So for me, last year, because I usually set a bunch of goals with objectives, like so I set my goal and then how I'm going to get there, or like my baby steps. So you set your goal and then you do baby steps. But last year I did something different, because I really wanted to start my business. So I had one goal in 2020, and it was to start my business. Within 14 days after I set that goal, I started. And then I was like, shit, what do I do from here? What do I do from here? Because I didn't have any other goals. Because I thought it was going to take much longer, which
Right.
those were my own blocks and those were my own fears that were holding me back. And it's like it happened really quick. So goals help you to manifest, right? So if we are clear and we tell the universe, okay, universe, I want to start my business in 2020, guess what? You set your intention. And if you're a manifesting queen like we are, you're going to get it in 14 days. So, I want to talk about some of my past goals too. So, because sometimes we don't always achieve our goals. And I want to talk about that too. Because with setting your intention and manifesting, that can occur quickly. However, there's divine time. So the universe has this thing where it already picks when you're going to be doing things. So you set your intention, and the universe is like, oh, okay, how can I line this up? How much time do I need to make this happen? Right? Because some goals take longer. In 2019, I had a goal of becoming certified in Reiki. That did not happen as fast as I wanted it to. So my goal was to have it done within the first 3 months. I gave myself the first 3 months. That's like 25% of the year. Didn't happen. Do you know why it didn't happen? Because I wasn't ready. I was not ready to become certified in Reiki 1 in 2019. Reiki works with all the chakras. It helps you deeply heal your energy because we have 7 main sources in our body. In 2019, it wasn't my time. Was not my time. I was thinking about it. I was being opened up to it. Chakra work is deep. It is deep. It's not just something that you kind of, willy-nilly do. Like, it is a healing modality. So fast forward to 2020, I was ready and it came to me. So for me, I wanted to make sure I was working with someone whose energy was aligned with me. It was very important for me to find a Reiki master that I connected with. Finally, she came. And it's interesting because she kept popping up. This one girl that I work with, she's like, you really need to reach out to Whitney. You really need to talk to Whitney. And I'm like, okay, all right. Like after the 5th time, I'm like, okay, universe. Like, you know how you're just like, I'm listening. That's how that was. So it was time, and the universe was letting me know, like, hey, girl, we're ready now. So some of your goals, I want you to be mindful of that. So it's good to set those intentions. It's good to know what you're working towards, but also remembering it's going to happen in the divine time that it is supposed to, no sooner and no later. So just keep yourself in check with that. So for this year, I want to talk about one of the goals I'm going to set for myself.
Yay!
I know. Sneak peek. So for me, I'm really working on like moving my body in a dancing form. I know this is kind of like, you're like, what? So I really want to raise the energy. I want to feel good in my body, in my vibration. And I've kind of like teetered with Zumba. I've kind of done the beach body thing. And I want something that is fun. I want something that is fun. I want something that doesn't feel like it is work. I want a hobby that I can just fully enjoy and have fun in. So I am going to research belly dancing.
I think that's awesome.
Yes. So for this one, because I do a lot of work on my solar plexus chakra, my sacral chakra, and my root chakra. And if you think of belly dancing, it's all with your hips, it's with your belly, your hips, it's all right down in here. So for me, I really want to shift that energy up and I really want to work on those chakras and I want to have fun while I'm doing it. So one of my goals is to start belly dancing with music that I like.
I think that's an awesome goal because I feel like people think that just in goals it has to be just like with, diets or like work only, but hobbies are important too. You need to have that like energy, you know?
Yep,
So I
that
think that's great.
outlet.
Yes. Yeah, something to not always be like I'm focusing on one thing.
Yep, materialistic things. I think sometimes, like our goals, we can get really focused on that material stuff. Um, Not that I'm not trying to save money to buy a house, I definitely am. However, I need other goals that are fulfilling. Like, because
Yeah.
we're living life. Like, we cannot let life pass us by while we're waiting to save money to buy a fucking house, right? We have to enjoy life. So, I want you guys to challenge yourself for this new year. And instead of, just solely focusing on goals for the materialistic things, I want you to focus on hobbies and passions and things that you enjoy and make goals with that.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah,
For me, I know
I
that
want to know about you.
yeah, do you want to know?
Yes, I do.
So, I guess like it's not necessarily materialistic, but in a way it would be. But obviously, many of you know that one of the goals I have is to manifest a baby.
Woo!
I've been praying about it. I've been, following all these things. But actually, as you may have all heard in the trailer of the Brie Pod, the Brie Pod is actually, I think, the hobby and the thing that's going to help me like kind of shift my focus and not solely on I'm gonna have a baby, infertility. Things are gonna be talked about in the Brie Pod, but just shifting it to focus on sharing stories, helping with self-love, helping improvement in all aspects of life. That is like I guess my biggest goal is to just continue consistency, collaborations, and just bringing the Brie Pod on another or on a level at all because it didn't exist before, right? So that is what my I guess coming in the new year I'm coming in with.
She's
So
coming in hot.
woo! Uh, well, I'm so happy to have you be here with me. And I just want you to share with everybody, like, where can they go to find you?
So I am on Instagram and you can find me under Tarot Tuesday Tribe. I have a Facebook page that is also Tarot Tuesday Tribe. And then I have a Facebook group that is also Tarot Tuesday Tribe. And then for the new year, for 2021, I am starting a membership and I will be launching my website. So you can, I know, this is exciting too. So Brie and her magicalness has really helped me to create and work on developing a website. So this year, because I've been doing this for months. When did I start this? Months ago? I've had my website for months, it feels
Yes,
like.
she has.
And I've just been like tweaking, and I feel like I'm almost there. I'm just uploading like my content, uh, which is so exciting. So I have done a lot of videos. So I talked about my story in the beginning of this podcast. In my membership, I have a portal. And in that portal, I dive deep into my relationships with like my mom and alcoholism, my relationships with my ex-fiance. I talk about a lot of my emotional like foundation, where I came from. So that is a lot of like when I created those, it was during my awakening, which it's kind of like a diary. I feel like it's a video diary. And I am so grateful that I recorded those.
Yeah.
Because to watch myself back then and to hear her speak in the space she was in is so cool. Is so cool.
Yeah, and
And
you can tell you're a different person from where you were then to
oh
now.
my God, yeah. Yep. Yep. My first video that I ever made was in 2017. We are in 2021.
Oh my goodness.
That is crazy. And I did not know then that I was going to be, I didn't know at all that I was going to be here right now. At all. I
Yeah,
just
I
was
mean, I feel the same way.
Yep. Yep.
It's it's crazy. Um, it's funny because like
You're in Oregon. You
yeah,
never
I'm in
thought.
Oregon.
Yep. Fun fact, everyone.
Yes, I'm in Oregon right now. Yeah, I mean it's funny because like when I first started, like I've always had this thing about self-love and bringing positive energy for so long. I mean, if any of you have followed my Facebook, um, you'll see like I was always posting, positive quotes, just trying to bring up that positive energy because in the news or even on Facebook now, it's so negative. Everybody's fighting each other. And I was getting kind of just sad seeing all of that and feeling that pressure of what they were putting out there, and I decided, well, I don't have to be that person. I don't have to be the person that brings in this negativity or fighting someone else. And so I started like adding all these quotes and memes trying to bring people up. And then I started my first page called Stay Classy because I'm obsessed with Audrey Hepburn. So I felt like I had a classy vibe to myself. And and then here we are now in a podcast. So
It's so cool.
yeah.
Growth. Hashtag growth.
Yes, and believing in yourself. Like
Literally.
share your story, share like you know, follow your path. You're meant to do what you want to do in your business, in your life, and go for it. Don't listen to people that tell you no, because they were either afraid or they didn't feel like like you can go far, but that's not true. That's It's just not true. So um I'm very happy to have had you on here. So I wanted to end this with some affirmations that was brought to you by Peace of Mind with Allie. And I just want you to really think uh, from the numbers between 1 to 3, which number resonates with you. And then I'm going to align that number with an affirmation. So I'll just have you think about that for a moment, and then I will read the affirmation. So for everyone that chose the number 1, your affirmation is this. There is beauty in the waiting, in the becoming, in the hard stretching seasons of growth. For group number 2, or those that chose number 2, your affirmation is I am fully loved and worthy of it. And then for group number 3, your affirmation is I will create beauty in the lives of others today. So, with that, I want you to know you are loved, you are worthy, you are cherished, and I am proud of you. Until next time on the Brie Pod. Bye.
Bye, guys.